hearty welcome to all my little children across the globe. Yes, across the state too. State. On this wonderful occasion, I am going to take you to read and enjoy a wonderful poem from 8th standard English, Making Life Worthwhile, written by George Eliot, a Victorian novelist and poet. Before we read and enjoy the given poem, we are going to do an interesting activity. Yes, I am going to sing a motivation song. The song is very related to the given poem that we are going to read and enjoy later. The song title is We Shall Overcome, written by Pete Seeger. This song was very popular in America during the second half of the 20th century. You will study this song in your later classes. So now I am going to sing that song. For your convenience, my dear little children, I have given the lyrics of the song and follow the lyrics to and listen to the singing as well. I am going to sing the song. Listen to me. We shall overcome, we shall overcome, we shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. We shall overcome, we shall overcome, we shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. We will live in peace, we will live in peace, we will live in peace someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we will live in peace someday. We are not afraid, we are not afraid, we are not afraid today. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we are not afraid today. We shall overcome, we shall overcome, we shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. My dear little children, this is the song, a stimulus song. This is stimulating, very well. This was the tone during the second half of the 20th century in America. So the song is over, and now I am going to give the meaning of the song in a nutshell. We human beings face so much of sufferings and pains in our life. One day the pain will be vanished, will be quashed. So we shall overcome. That is the meaning of the song. And one day we will live in peace, even though we are facing sufferings at present. And final stanza, we are not afraid. Yes, we are bold to face any obstacles in life. So the gist of the meaning is very much related to the poem prescribed for us. So we will understand that later when we get into the text of the poem. Practice singing, my dear children. Wonderful song. The whole poem is all about values. What is a value? At this juncture of your life, you may not understand what is a value. Values are the principles or standards of behavior expected from an individual in a society. Some essential personal values are listed below. Before I list out all these values, my dear little kids, I am asking you a question. Don't you know what is a value? No, you know what is a value. We have a period in our timetable in our school, a value education period. In that period, a teacher comes and tells you so much of moral stories, anecdotes, and successful stories of great men and women from the past. So from those stories, We understand what is a value, what is good, what is bad, and what is needed for a better life, and what is needed for a life with peace and harmony. So these are all values. I hope now you understand what is a value. There are some values I have listed down. Love, that is obvious. Without love, we feel insecure. It may be parental love, it may be love from teachers, or love from society. And tolerance, we should tolerate the pain we are undergoing at present so that we can enjoy a better future. And respect, at this time of your life, you must respect your parents and teachers and all the elders around you. Honesty, honesty, that is straightforwardness. Whatever you do, be truthful, that is honesty. And finally, there is a value, gratitude. Gratitude, what is gratitude? Whenever something happens to you, whenever you receive something from others, whenever you are gifted from God or any other persons, you should thank others. You should thank other people for whatever you are having now. So that is gratitude. Now you are going to see some pictures, observe the pictures and say the moral values they express. There are 4 pictures, my dear little children. I am going to explain the pictures clockwise. So listen to the pictures and what they express. In the first picture, a boy is feeding a dog, that is pet animal, that is caring even for animals. And in the next picture, clockwise, there is a girl consoling her friend. That is needed nowadays because that shows what you are. When you listen to the pains of others, surely the pain is shared and it is cured as well. And in the next picture, a boy is guiding an old man to cross the road. Yes, that is needed from a life of studenthood. Whenever you feel, whenever you see a person in need, please go forward and help others. That is what needed. That's what the society expects from you. In the final picture, there is a boy on wheelchair. He may be sick. See the next boy. He is tending the boy. He is attending to the boy. So this is also attending to the people in need. These pictures, my dear boys and girls, would definitely say you what is a value, caring and sharing and helping the people in need. Now I have listed the values. I have divided them generally into 2 topics. They are personal values and social values. What is a personal value and what is a social value? There is a difference between these 2 sets of values. The first set, personal values, these values make you a person compatible for the society. You should develop these qualities to be a better person, to make yourself a better person, and to be adapted in the society. In the second section, in the second classification, social values, these values are essential to live in the society with peace and harmony. Listen to me, I am reading the personal values: cleanliness, loyalty, love, tolerance, gratitude, forgiveness, respect, honesty, patience, courtesy, patriotism, and control over one's sense. So these values mold your personality. If you acquire these values, definitely you will feel yourself better, even the best in the society. And there are social values: discipline, cooperation, kindness, non-violence, charity, brotherhood, justice, dignity of individual, and sharing and caring. These values, my dear little children, see the 2 values, discipline and cooperation. We often listen to these 2 words in our assembly daily. during our school time. So discipline can be learned only in school atmosphere, and cooperation from your friends. So when you are in a group, you should cooperate with your friends so that you can attain a better position in your life. And see non-violence, the success mantra of a father in the history, that is Mahatma Ji. And dignity of individual. Yes, you may be a little person, you may be a little kid, but dignity is essential. So these are the two sorts of values, my dear little children. Personal values, social values. Making Life Worthwhile, written by George Eliot. See the picture, dear kids. A person is marching forward. He is going upstairs. So this picture itself is an example what is the poem is going to deal about. In life we face ups and downs like upstairs, but the person is moving upward, that is he is marching upstairs. So this is what you have to understand from the poem. So the title of the poem is known. Now who has written it? The poetess George Eliot. She is the person, she is the writer who has written this poem, Victorian novelist as well as she is a poetess too. But the name sounds like a male name. Yes, George Eliot is the pen name of the Victorian female novelist Mary Ann Evans. She was born in the United Kingdom on the 22nd of November in 1819. She was an English novelist, poet, journalist, and one of the leading writers of the Victorian period. She died at the age of 61. So this is what you have to learn about the poet. So there is a list, my dear children, boys and girls, the complete novels of George Eliot. George Eliot has written totally 7 novels. The titles of the novels are given here. Adam Bede, The Lifted Veil, The Mill on the Floss, Silas Marner, Romola, Felix Holt the Radical, Middlemarch, and finally Daniel Deronda. So in your future years, if you opt English literature, surely you will know what all these novels are about. In the poem, what is the theme of the poem? What George Eliot has to say from the poem? George Eliot focuses on the theme very much related to us, that is what I already told, the values. Eliot describes how we can make our life worthwhile in the society. She wants us to get good qualities from the people whom we meet in our life to make our life worthy. So the theme will be understood better when we get into the text of the poem. Before we read and enjoy the poem, my dear children, you should understand new terms employed in the poem. What are the new terms employed? The first term, worthwhile, is taken from the title itself. Valuable, purposeful. Worthwhile means valuable or purposeful. So you should make your life purposeful. That is what the poem is all about. Slightest, very thin or light. In this poem, slightest means maybe minor. You will understand later. Grace, smooth or charm. This is not the charm of outer appearance, it's charm of the character. Aspiration means a hope or ambition of achieving something. So the fire in you, that is the ambition, aspiration. Next term, unfelt, that means did not feel. Another term, brave. You know, brave is under the class adjective, but here the poet has used it as a verb. Yes, brave means face boldly. You have to brave the pain. Courage, bravery or valor. Gleam, shine brightly. Faith, a strong belief. Yeah, the trust and confidence you have on others, that is faith. Ills, misfortunes or problems in life. glimpse, quick look or glance. Heritage, the final term, inheritance. Inheritance, you know, my dear little children, that you get from your ancestors. There are two terms you have to understand the pronunciation very well. That is courage and heritage. Often we pronounce these two terms like courage and heritage. Age should not be the N. The N should be ij. Courage and heritage. Hope you will practice the pronunciation later. Now we are getting into the text of the poem, my dear little children. The poem text is very, very simple. You can understand yourself. The whole poem is given in a slide, Making Life Worthwhile, written by George Eliot. Listen to the pronunciation and stress throughout the poem, my dear boys and girls. I'm going to read. Every soul that touches yours, be it the slightest contact, get there from some good, some little grace, one kindly thought, one aspiration it unfelt, one bit of courage for the darkening sky, one gleam of faith to brave the thickening ills of life, one glimpse of brighter skies to make this life worthwhile, and heaven a surer heritage. Hope you listen to the lines. Now I am going to stress the pronunciation again. I am going to read that again. Please follow me. Every soul that touches yours, be it the slightest contact, get there from some good. Some little grace, one kindly thought, one aspiration it unfelt. One bit of courage for the darkening sky, one gleam of faith to brave the thickening ills of life. One glimpse of brighter skies to make this life worthwhile, and heaven a surer heritage. So this is the reading of the poem, my dear children. We will discuss the meaning line by line in the future. The meaning of the poem is given. The first three lines of the poem are given here. Every soul that touches yours, be it the slightest contact, get there from some good. See the meaning. We should learn the good qualities from every person whom we meet in our life. He may be even your enemy. Still, you can get some goodness from him. See the meaning. This poem, particularly these three lines, remind me of the lines of Alfred Lord Tennyson from the poem Ulysses. There is a famous line, my dear kids. I am part of all that I have met. This is the line. I am part of all that I have met. So, we are living in a society. The Greek philosopher Aristotle once said, man is by nature a social animal. So, without society, we are not here. You may be a person, you have some personal desires, but your desires can be felt only when you mingle with the society. So without society, you cannot attain anything. So whenever you meet a person, learn to get something good from him. From your parents, from your teachers, from your friends, even from strangers. Yeah, here it is given even from your enemies. So you can learn goodness from everywhere. Next 4 lines of the poem are given. Some little grace, one kindly thought, one aspiration it unfelt, one bit of courage for the darkening sky. So these 4 lines, so look into the lines. Some little grace, grace here, not the grace of our physical appearance, the grace of character. You can get little grace from any person, one kindly thought. People are made up of thoughts, can get kindly thoughts from everywhere. One aspiration it unfelt. That person may not be aware of the worthfulness of himself. But you can get that if you meet and get an acquaintance. One bit of courage for the darkening sky. See the phrase darkening sky. Here it is symbolic, my dear kids. Darkening sky. What do you feel when you see a darkening sky with the thunderbolts and lightning? Yeah, it changes your mood. You feel painful sometimes. Yeah, the sky is dark, my mood is gloomy. Here, the sufferings of our life. Our life is the sky, and the darkening color is the suffering. So when you feel sufferings in your life, pains in your life, you should vanquish them from the courage you get from others. It will be useful if you get even very little grace or only one kind thought or one aspiration that the person himself was not aware of. If you get a bit of courage from a person, that will help you to face your hard times. One gleam of faith to brave the thickening ills of life, one glimpse of brighter skies to make this life worthwhile, and heaven a surer heritage. So we are coming to the concluding lines too. One gleam of faith. Faith, what is faith? Faith is strong trust or confidence you have for others. Here, one gleam of faith to brave the thickening ills of life. So the strong trust must be put on the ills of life. Ills means sufferings or problems of your life. So the gleam of faith you get from others will surely help you abolish all the ills of life that you face. One glimpse of brighter skies. See the paradox, see the contrast given in the poem. In the previous lines, we saw the phrase that is darkening sky. Here, brighter sky. That is when the sky is clear, when it is blue, when there are forms of clouds, you feel happy, your mood changes into a bliss. So brighter skies means here a peaceful life. So the thickening hills of life go away and brighter sky is what we have seen. To make this life worthwhile and heaven a surer heritage. So you know the meaning of heritage? That is acquiring from others, your ancestors. If you do all these things, if you change your mood like this, heaven a surer heritage. You can attain the epos to get into the heaven. Here you have to learn that. So there is no need to work hard or struggle in your life to reach heaven. If you follow, if you practice these values, if you practice goodness, you will easily get into heaven. See the meaning given there. The gleam of faith will make you brave enough to face the evils and obstacles of life. A quick look at the brighter side of your life will make a life valuable. Then surely heaven would be our inheritance. So far, we did see the meaning, the reading of the poem, the meaning of the poem, and now the technical part of the poem, that is figures of speech. In Tamil, we say anigal. So it gives beauty to the poem. Here, alliteration, the first technical part, alliteration. What is the definition for alliteration? Repetition of initial consonant sound in a single line is called alliteration. There is a line from the poem, get there from some good. So there are two terms, they start with similar, same consonant sound, that is G. Get good. Here the words of alliteration, get and good. In Tamil we say Monaichurkal. Get good. These two terms begin with the same consonant sound. The next technical part of the poem is repetition. What is a repetition? Sometimes to emphasize an idea, we repeat the terms, we repeat the phrases, even lines. A literary device that repeats the same words or phrases a few times in a stanza. It makes an idea clearer and more memorable. It is used to emphasize a feeling or idea. Look at the following lines, my dear children. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. These four lines are very famous because the first Prime Minister of independent India, or Jawaharlal Nehru, in his last years used to write these lines on his desk. It is found written on his desk even still. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. Why the final two lines are repeated? Because there are undone responsibilities and duties for the poet here for our former Prime Minister. The final two lines of the poem are repeated purposefully to emphasize the idea of responsibility. In this poem also, in the prescribed poem, we see repetition that will be tested later. My dear children, I hope you did listen to me. Now I am going to check your understanding. What qualities will help us brave the thickening hills of life? Yes, very good. Little grace, kind thought, unfelt aspiration, bit of courage, and gleam of faith we get from others. These qualities will help us brave the thickening hills of life. Next question, be ready. What do you mean by the word grace? Yes, very good. Grace means elegance or charm of character. What do you mean by the term heritage? Yes, very good. Heritage means the property inherited from our ancestors.